Hey guys, welcome back here to another edition of The Fishing Teacher, and appreciate you guys coming by the channel and check it out. And guys, today I want to have a little conversation on the color of lure that bigger fish prefer, because out of all the different color palettes that you have available in lures out there, there's 2 or 3 that consistently generate bigger fish. And I want to go over what colors they are that always, seems to appeal to larger fish and why that is. And definitely think it's going to add up to some quality fish for you guys if you take some of this stuff into advice and utilize it into your color selection. You'll definitely notice a difference here. Also, guys, a couple quick things I wanted to cover before we get started. I had a lot of people asking about that spinning reel that I was talking about the other day, exactly what it was. It's the Lew's Hyper Mag, guys. If you guys are looking for a great spinning reel, this Lew's Hyper Mag, my favorite spinning reel that I've seen in a long time. 11 ball bearings, smooth as butter. I'll put this in my Tackle Warehouse link in the description. They got that 12 days of summer sale right now, so it's a good time to pick one up. And also, guys, 2 quick things. Anybody interested in booking an on-the-water lesson with me, got a bunch of jerkbait lessons coming up right now. Send me a private message on my Facebook page, Randy Blaukat Professional Angler. Right now is the time you want to go. They're biting it right now. And finally, guys, speaking of winter fishing, please swing by and check out my winter Fish the Moment lake map breakdowns that I built for Fish the Moment. Guys, this is a great resource to get you guys some good fishing places, get you some GPS waypoints you can go straight to this winter to catch fish on. So I'll have that all linked in the description of this video. Really appreciate that. I know those dang plugs are a pain in the butt, guys. I really appreciate you guys putting up with them. I know it's easy to fast forward through them. Yeah, but man, that's what keeps this channel on YouTube. So thank you very much for people that are putting up with them there. Okay, guys, you saw the thumbnail I had here. I had some different colors out on the thumbnail. X80 right here. We're not talking about the X80, but you can see the different colors, how many different colors I got of them. And the thing about it is, when you talk about colors that attract fish, there are some colors that attract numbers of fish. They attract larger numbers of fish that are usually a little bit smaller. Some colors out there are sort of neutral. You'll get a good fish on them once in a while. You get some small fish and mixed up. But there's pretty much 2 colors that consistently produce bigger fish, in my opinion. And it has a lot to do with the mood and the personality of the fish and some things that we don't understand. But I want to talk a little bit about that, what it is. Now, first of all, some of the colors out there that catch a lot of fish and maybe not consistently produce bigger fish are some type of your more shady colors, the little translucent type colors. And we're not talking about just jerk baits today. These are just examples of colors. You can apply this to a crankbait or whatever you want to throw. But any type of a shad pattern, for the most part, I have noticed on a shad pattern that I consistently catch a lot of fish on them, but I don't consistently catch a lot of fish on them. Now, the colors that you want to focus on that will catch you quality fish are these right here. Your chartreuses, your bright colors like this. This is a table rock shad. This is a matte tiger right here. And it can be the same thing. Let me sort of show you with the crankbait here. Sorry about the glitch there, guys. God dang, I got all the way through this video. I filmed it for like another 8 or 9 minutes, and for some reason the camera turned off, so I got to refilm the video here. So I'm going to get back into the thing here. But what I was talking about is I went up and I pulled out, one of my brighter crankbaits here, DD22. When you're talking in terms, get back into this, when you're talking in terms of a bright colored lure, it doesn't make any difference if it's jerkbait or crankbait or whatever. This right here versus let me pull out another one here. If you pull up to an area and you throw this bright colored lure like this with a blueback chartreuse side versus a shad pattern like this, yeah, you might catch some big ones once in a while on the shad pattern, but this run right here is always going to consistently catch you the more and the bigger fish, and also the most aggressive fish. So one of the things that I do, this is a really good rule of thumb that I can tell you guys how to simplify this, is when you pull up, or let's talk, for example, right off the bat in the morning. When you start fishing right off the bat in the morning, I don't care what you're doing, you always want to throw the brighter bait, for the first hour. Or if you're fishing a slow bait, like a worm or a jig, always start out with the darker color. Start out with like a June bug colored worm or black and blue jig. If you, like on a jig, for example, if you fish a brown jig all year long and you fish a black and blue jig all year long, and those are the two colors that you fish, at the end of the year, you're going to notice that you catch more fish on the brown jig, but you're going to catch bigger ones on the black and blue jig. It's the same with this, guys. If you, say for example, you do nothing but fish main lake points, and these are the two colors that you use. You got a shad pattern, you got a bright color. At the end of the year, you're going to catch more fish on this color right here, but you're going to catch bigger ones on this. It's going to be statistically undeniable the number of big ones you catch on this versus that. So one of the things that the little tips and advice I'll give you, other than starting out with a bright bait or dark bait in the morning, is say for example you pull up to one of those main lake points. I don't care, guys, what the conditions are. I don't care if it's sunny, clear, anything like that. When I pull up on a new area where I think there's going to be some fresh fish that have not seen a bait, I always start out bright like this. These are the colors that I will go to right off the bat. I may pull up there and I make 10 or 15 casts, and that's it. If I catch one, fine, it's usually going to be a good fish. If I don't, then I go to a little bit, more subtle lure. But I always start out bright and then I go down. So it's good to have both. Have a shad pattern or crawdad or perch pattern, then have a bright color. Start out with that right off the bat. Try it, and you're going to notice a big difference on that. Now, a lot of this, like I said, we don't really understand, what motivates a fish and why this has an impact on it. There's a lot of studies on colors on bass, as far as the colors that bass prefer. And you hear scientific studies say, oh, bass, all they can see is gray or brown or whatever. I've read a bunch of those studies. But I can tell you one thing about bass fishing, guys, is we do not understand what it looks like underwater in a bass's eyes. We don't understand. We can theorize, and you can have some data that maybe, points you in a certain direction, but ultimately you don't know. You can't look through the eyes of a bass and see what they're talking about. But here is what I know from my fishing. Take this bait right here. This is a bright, flat colored lure. This is the number one color on the hard bait to catch big ones on. Now, if you would take this same color, let's say, for example, we faded it out. Maybe we put it in the sun for, a month and the brightness faded out where it's duller. Or maybe we created some type of a chartreuse that was translucent and you could see through it a little bit. You will notice the difference in the overall size of fish you have will go down. As the brightness color fades out, or as it gets more translucent, the size of the fish is going to go down. Now, you may catch more fish on it because it's a little bit more subtle and neutral, but this is what triggers a big fish, guys. Bright color. And it triggers something within inside them internally that we simply don't understand, but you have to capitalize on that. And one of the things in bass fishing is you have to sort of determine what your goals and your desires are. Do you want to catch numbers, or do you want to catch big ones, or do you want to catch, both? And the way that you do that is by constantly adjusting your color to what the bass prefer, their mood and their personality, the things that trigger them, the environmental conditions like water clarity and light intensity. If it sounds complicated, it is complicated. There's a lot of variables to this. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to hit every one of them perfectly to catch a fish, because you can probably catch a few fish anytime on this. But what we're trying to do in fishing is we're trying to maximize, your efforts and maximize the potential that you have to catch fish. And this is one of the realities to it. So here's my advice, just as a recap of the thing. If you're fishing a jig or worm, you need to have two different colors out. Almost any day, any conditions you have. Have some type of a dark color jig or worm, and then have some type of a neutral color. Always start out with the dark color. Always start out with it. And if you go to a new area, always start out making a few casts with the dark color. It's the same with a crankbait or a jerkbait. Have a couple different colors laid out. Right off the bat in the morning, start out bright, make your adjustments about a day in, or if you go to a new area, always start out bright. And you will notice at the end of the year, you may not notice like in the short period. Like you may try this for a month or two and say, Randy doesn't know what he's talking about. But guys, I can assure you, if you kept a record and you did this for a whole year, you would notice a noticeable difference in the number of big ones you catch with those brighter or more neutral colors. It's undeniable in my opinion. So anyway, guys, I hope it helped out. I hope it didn't confuse you guys too much, and we'll talk later.